What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. We are here in the crazy week lead up to the draft, free agency, all the fun stuff. So if you guys are new here and you love Leafs rumors, trade talk, everything like that, instant updates or kind of instant updates, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. I need you guys here, man. I'm looking at you, man. Make sure to subscribe. I know you guys are watching these videos and having a lot of fun. I'm having fun. Hopefully you guys are too. But today we're going to be talking, of course, about the Maple Leafs and some additions that they could make to this team. And there's been some interesting talk. And again, I'm not saying that I have inside sources or that this is going to happen. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to talk about potentially some upgrades that this team could make. And this post here coming from @LeafsLatest, grabbing a quote from the fourth period, David Pagnotta. I don't want to be disrespectful how you pronounce his name, but David was talking about how the Maple Leafs' #1 goal in free agency and the offseason remains adding size and quality on the blue line. Now, former Flame Nikita Zadorov, he's currently a defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks until free agency. And I know the Canucks probably want to get that done, but it looks like he's going to test free agency. And Blues defenseman Colton Parayko are two players GM Brad Treliving has had interest in for a while. While the blue line is the priority this offseason, the team is also navigating Mitch Marner's future, as there is a belief that they will entertain trade calls from a select few teams. Now, again, we don't know what they're going to do with Mitch Marner. And of course, a couple of these contracts and a couple of these players would probably depend on if the Leafs do trade Mitch Marner and being able to spend a little bit more money. Now, you know, I know a lot of people are saying the Leafs don't have money to spend. They do, and they can definitely upgrade this team. It's just they have to navigate through the Mitch Marner stuff. They have to navigate through free agency and a little bit of trading to see how much they can really clear up. And there is options for them to clear up some money. But I am intrigued by Nikita Zadorov. Now, he has a lot of size. I mean, he's 6'6". We've seen what this guy can do in the playoffs. We saw what this guy could do in the playoffs. We know what he's capable of, throwing a bunch of hits, being a physical presence, being a guy on the back end that you can rely on in terms of that physical presence. Now, he got paid $3.75 million, but he's going to be looking to cash in, right? So not a bad offensive production either. Like he puts up a decent amount of points. Like he had 8 points in 13 games. He fit in really well with the Canucks. And like obviously selfishly, I want the Leafs to get this guy, but I genuinely hope that the Canucks are the other option truly, because I think he fit in really well with that team. But Zadorov apparently had interest of being a Leaf. I don't know if that was smoke and mirrors before he got traded to the Canucks, but apparently the Leafs made a really good offer to the Flames too, but because, again, Brad Treliving is the GM of the Maple Leafs, he was formerly with the Flames, there was some politics there. It wasn't going to work. But it seems as though, like, in free agency, Zadorov might be willing to come to Toronto as well. We'll have to see, but I hope the Leafs are all over this guy. I've talked about it before. As long as it's not a massive overpay, like you don't want to get into a bidding war over a guy that's just really started to prove his worth over the last couple seasons. You don't want to just go crazy with the money and spend it on a guy that maybe you're like in a couple years like, oh, I don't know if this was the right idea, because while he fit in really well with the Canucks, it's not a guarantee he's going to fit in really well with the Leafs. I would love to see this guy play with McCabe. I'd love to see him play with Riley. Who knows if the Leafs can acquire two free agent defensemen? You know, maybe, you know, you get Tanev and Zadorov. Maybe you can get a Brett Pesce and Zadorov in a perfect world. But Zadorov would be a huge get for the Leafs. They need that physical big body presence to match, you know, with guys like Benoit and McCabe. They want to keep, you know, that physicality and size as something that's part of their team. And Zadorov has been pretty solid. So I would definitely be interested in a guy like Nikita Zadorov. And this is where the next part of this gets a little bit, you know, tricky. And, you know, you're into a little bit of murky waters, and that's Colton Parayko. Now, a few years ago, if you went on my channel or anybody who's a Leaf fan and you spoke to them about Colton Parayko, they would be like salivating at the mouth. They would be like, yo, this guy would be an amazing fit with the Leafs. He would be perfect for this team. But he's kind of fell off a little bit. And I'm not saying that in a rude way, but Parayko hasn't been the same for quite some time. And what I want to do is read you a little bit of something here, and this is coming from Pension Plan Puppets. Now, what is being said here and what's being shown here is a guy that went through a lot of analytics and showing what this guy's worth is and how he kind of plays. Now, right here, it's just explaining what we're seeing on this chart. And he says, what I mean by offense is not personal shooting. Parayko scored 10 goals and was replacement level this season at offense generation. That means his effect of puck possession, keeping it, getting it, and passing it to the right people who could keep it was poor. He added nothing north of his own blue line beyond those goals. His defensive numbers were pretty decent, but his offense wasn't. And the issue with Parayko is the fact that he's getting paid quite a bit at 31 years old, and he's got a lot of years left on that contract. This could become a troublesome contract towards the end of it. But what I wanted to argue, and what some other people are arguing a little bit, and I don't think that Parayko should be the #1 priority or even a top 5 priority for the Leafs. There's guys you can get without making a trade and maybe even sign for a little bit cheaper that would do the same things as what he does without having to give up assets, right? And the problem with Parayko, though, on the flip side, is that he needs the right guy. And I think that the Leafs have some guys that could play with him that would unlock that offensive ability a little bit more. Like, he scored 10 goals, which is good for a defenseman. But the Maple Leafs wouldn't be giving this guy power play time. They wouldn't be giving him those offensive zone starts. That's mostly for Morgan Riley. But Parayko is a guy that if you play him with a McCabe, I'm wondering if that unlocks something, because they would be pretty decent and solid defensively, I would think. But you also could let Parayko run wild a little bit. And Parayko is a pretty decent sized guy. I mean, he's 6'6", just like Zadorov as well. Like, this is a big guy. So you would still get a little bit of that physicality as well and that defensive structure. So if you paired him with a guy like McCabe, that would be very interesting to me. It's just the problem is his cap hit. I think it's a little bit high for a potential guy that it might not work, and in a couple years the contract could fall off a cliff and he could be really bad and it might not work out. So the Leafs would have to be really careful in a situation if they were to acquire Colton Parayko, and the acquisition cost would be very interesting to me, because how much value does a guy like Colton Parayko still hold? I think he still holds a lot of value, but how much? And that's where it gets troublesome, where the Leafs could, again, like I said, acquire guys that could maybe do the same things as him, but Parayko has a higher ceiling. He might have a chance to do more with the right partner and with the right team. And while a few years ago that St. Louis team was really good and they won a Stanley Cup, now they're not the same. The structure and the defense is not the same. So if you shelter him a little bit, and maybe even play him a little bit less and play him with a guy like McCabe or maybe even Morgan Riley, I don't know if I would like that pairing, but like pairing him with a solid guy like McCabe, it could really work, and it could be amazing. But it could be. It's not a guarantee. So with these two guys, Zadorov and Parayko, would you want to get both? Would you want to get one over the other? I want to leave it to you guys, because I think they're both interesting, but it's about acquisition cost, right? So leave your thoughts down below. I want to hear you guys sound off in the comments. If you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. Love to have you guys here. Again, it's silly season. Let's get into the draft and free agency and everything. Lots of videos coming. So much content coming. So you watching this right now, make sure to subscribe. I love and appreciate you guys as always, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.